But it's true, is it not? Hey, the storm has granted us a brief interlude of peace here in the world of sudden death. Let us not deny our desires. No, no,
Oh,
nom 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 nom.
Magneto!
God, it's like, what kind of fanfic is this?
Right.
So it's like, I mean, like, some of the dialogue is like, what is this, Twilight?
You have the iciest blue eyes, Magneto. Oh, Janet.
Yeah, it's like, there is so little time left, Janet.
You're listening to And This Is Why I Love Comics.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the And This Is Why I Love HeroQuest podcast.
Yeah, can we sing the praises? I mean, we didn't quite sing it, but there was some waxing poetical elements to it. That's for
Right.
certain.
Yeah. No, we didn't really change the podcast name. It's And This Is Why I Love Comics. We're just chatting away about HeroQuest, one of our favorite games on the earth. And so we got the Kickstarter, and we opened them up earlier, months ago now. It seems like months ago.
Yeah,
Doesn't it?
man. Took months to arrive, and then once they're there, it was like,
Right.
and then, yeah. now
Nothing.
it's-
Now
Where's
it's
my
in a
next thing?
closet.
I grow weary of these. Where's my next thing?
Right. What's my next Kickstarter coming? But we're just chatting here. It's Andy and Mike again. Thanks for showing up and listening.
Howdy
we're
do.
we're still here. Happy New Year again to you. Thanks for downloading us. Please tell a friend. We're gonna be here, and eventually we're gonna get to the series we've picked this time. Actually, I think I picked this series this time, didn't I?
I believe so, and
It's a
oddly
first.
enough,
It's a
it's
first
not a
time.
DC title.
It's not. What is wrong with me? I don't know.
I know. It's you were filled with a Christmas spirit.
That's right. But we're going to talk at least, it's a 12-issue series. We're going to talk about the first 6 issues of Marvel's Superheroes Secret Wars from 1982, 1984, through April of 85. Marvel Secret Wars is a favorite of mine. I don't know how Mike feels about it. We're going to find out. But
It's a secret. I can't tell you.
it's a secret and a war. But it's neither one. So that's what we're going to talk about this time. And yes, it's from Marvel. The cover price was 75 cents. 12 issues, written by Jim Shooter and drawn by Mike Zeck and Bob Layton. So, first 6 issues. We were going to do all 12, but it became quite a feat to talk about 12 issues in the time we wanted to do. So we're going to cut it in half. Well,
We couldn't squeeze in HeroQuest talk at the same time.
no, we
That's
cannot.
too much, and HeroQuest. It just overwhelmed the senses.
Right.
So, how did everything for your Christmas go?
My Christmas actually turned out pretty good. We did a lot during break, like we had played games a lot and stuff like that, and it seemed to be a slower week, even though we filled it with stuff. So it was kind of nice. Like it was, we didn't rush, we didn't have to go anywhere. There was nothing going on. Like if we all wanted a lazy day, and they played video games and we did other things, it happened. So it actually turned out really good. Christmas night we opened presents, and that turned out really good, and they liked their gifts, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I think it was one of our better Christmases. We got to play HeroQuest.
How far did you get?
We just got through mission 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to start mission 3, but we ran out of time, and we started some other things. But yeah, they were learning finally in the middle of the second mission that they shouldn't split up and all go a different direction and walk around, because once those bad guys start showing up, and then they're all getting attacked at once in different areas. The wizard kept dying. He kept getting killed because he's not meant to be alone.
Yeah, basically defenseless as it can be.
Yeah, so they learned towards the end where they were, oh wait, if I'm the last person for this round and I open a door, I'm gonna get hit first. So they were. To me, it was kind of funny because I remember playing it and realizing that stuff as a kid too. It's like, oh wait, here's the rule. Let's not do this.
Yeah, there's no, you're encountering a thing. Roll for initiative.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, you dive right into it. And it's like, nope, it goes this step, then this step, then this step, then this step.
Right. And it's always like that. There's no change. If I search for treasure and there's a trap there, I'm gonna trigger the trap first. Oh, I should search for traps first. They starting to learn how to do things in order. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, that's great. The downside is that it also makes it predictable. And that's one aspect that I kind of got frustrated with. I love the game. I mean, it's still like, if I could only pick like 2 games out of my entire collection, I would say it's HeroQuest and it's Dark Tower.
Okay.
And then the rest of them, I could kind of take or leave. But it's those 2 games that are like, and would I ever say that they were the best games ever designed? No. But I will say that there is something about that. The fact that it's been like, that it does kind of get a little formulaic. It is like, okay, I'm going to roll. I'm going to get there. I'm going to roll and I'll get there. And it's like, okay, we're all going to be by the doorway and we're not going to open the door until everybody's right next to the door and we're all positioned correctly.
Right. Yeah.
Then we'll open the door in the proper order. And it's like, then it kind of takes some of the, it becomes mechanized.
Well, there's no guys here. Okay, we'll just move our guys right here and set up for the next encounter. Like, it's almost like a role-playing game, but it's predictable rules, and yeah, I can see what you're saying. It just becomes formulaic.
I mean, I love the game, and I will always love the game.
Yeah.
But
well, it got to be a point where they were playing the second mission, was off on his own, and he searched a treasure chest. And in the rules it said, or in the the mission it said there was a trap there. But I didn't feel like doing a trap on that one. So I switched, like there was 2 treasure chests. I just moved it to the other one. I wanted to move them along to get to the point. Like, if I do a trap, that means he's going to take damage, and then they're going to mess around for another 10 minutes to try to heal, and then I played the GM a little too much. Like, I'm not even following the rules of the game. I just move along to the next thing. We got, we only have another half hour. Let's just go.
yeah.
So.
Yeah. For a while, I was an ridiculously avid follower of Penny Arcade.
Yeah.
And they had their packs. And I think that's a brilliant idea. I fully embrace packs. I think that's a great, alternative to some other conventions and so forth. But it's, Penny Arcade Expo. So they would sit up there on this giant stage and play Dungeons and Dragons in front of a live studio audience. And it's like, that's absolutely, phenomenal. But they only had a finite amount of time to go through this whole adventure. And when they would start, it's like, okay, your movement is 6, so you can move 6 spaces. Your movement's 4, and they do all that. And then they kind of looked at their time and it's like, okay, at this point you can fly and you can, you can make these tremendous leaps and you can jump. And it's like, they were trying to we got to wrap this up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell that they were like, I'm going to GM this and the rules are going to go to the side.
Right, yeah. What's more important? We finish, this scenario so that it makes sense for the audience, or, we play by the rules and we have to go on.
Whenever you're playing a game like that, it is kind of like, well, I think I'm just going to interpret this as I want to interpret this.
Yeah, and it was never my intent to cheat. But, at this point I was like, okay, let's move on. I wanted you guys to find Sir Ragnar, and
Mm-hmm.
not have to pause the game and then not play for a week and a half. You know, like, let's just get to this spot here. So we'll talk about issues 7 through 12 in a different podcast. I don't even know if we'll do the next one. Maybe we'll space it out and do something else, and then come back to the series a little later. We'll decide that and let you know on the Facebook page. Just join in there, and we will talk about it there as well. Boy, that is quite a series we're going to talk about. I'm not sure if I'm ready to talk about it yet. I want to talk about HeroQuest some more, you know?
Things that we've actually, I don't know. I hate to say it, but I think it is a sign of our reluctance to talk about this title as already indicating our thoughts about this title.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't know. I have a feeling I liked it a lot more than you did.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it for what it is, and I think one of the things. Now I gotta quantify a little bit, but mine was like a collected hardcover kind of like one of those like deluxe editions or whatever they call it for. And the forward talked about like how did this series come into existence?
Yeah, it was basically a toy grab, wasn't it?
Yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
then it's like, oh,
It was a
this
Hasbro
now.
push.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world that this is just like we need something for people to understand who these characters are, and we're going to make a bunch of figures to go along with it.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to you about that. We're toy guys, but you're more of a toy guy than I am.
Yeah,
Uh,
20 years and then it's designing toys and working in toys. So yeah, I can fully vouch that this was a very valid approach to try to get an IP out there to help promote and push toys
yeah, it was kind of
at the
they were
time.
gonna compete against DC's Superpowers line
Yep.
and
By Kenner.
by Kenner, and decided to put this out with Hasbro.
Technically,
And
it was Mattel.
I'm
But
sorry,
that was a secret.
with Mattel. And
Yeah.
so they pushed this line out. Jim Shooter tried to find, well, he decided to write it himself after trying to find the right person, I think.
Yep. If you
Um,
can't find somebody, do it yourself.
right. And I'm not like I remember the Superpowers line, and I do remember the Secret Wars line as
Mhm.
well. But in my memory, it didn't do quite as well as the Superpowers. Am I wrong?
No, no. I mean, they were both very financially successful, but the ones that people look at more fondly is the Superpowers collection. The Superpowers collection had action features to them. So, like Batman had punching arms, Superman had punching arms. You squeeze their legs together and their arms would punch. The likenesses were so much better with the Superpowers line. They had cloth capes. They were more true to the comic in their look. But Mattel, trying to do some cost cutting, decided to put the money into that gimmick. And I don't know if you remember it, but the Secret Wars figures had lenticular shields.
I do
Yeah,
remember
and
that.
so
Yeah.
that you could put in these different images in their shields, and it showed different scenes from the comic.
You know what I call that? Lame.
Yeah, and it saved them money so that they could, retool one shield for the heroes and one for the bad guys, and that's it. And so many of them didn't even have accessories, and the characters that would normally have capes didn't.
Oh,
So, like the
okay.
Doctor Doom figure has a cape throughout this whole series. The toy did not. Magneto, no cape. They really chinsed out on a lot
Huh.
with the Mattel stuff. The materials, the plastic that was used, the ABS and the PVC, primarily the PVC was very soft. So I remember getting the black costume Spider-Man for Secret Wars, and his arms, and unfortunately, I left it in a window, and he got like almost like Stretch Armstrong rubbery, and that's not a good sign. I mean, like it reacted with just the warmth of the sun coming through the window. So if that tells you anything, it's like, yeah, this
Well,
is
eventually
probably not
became
good.
Venom, so.
Yeah. So if I held on to it much longer, that the rubbery legs would have just enveloped my hand and then just took me over completely.
Right. Yeah, we are going to spoil Secret Wars, so if you haven't read this from
Since
1984,
yeah,
go read it and then come
nearly
back.
30 years old or
Right,
40
so
years old now.
it will be
Actually,
spoiled. We just spoiled this possible connection with Venom, but that's in the next podcast because that didn't happen in the first 6. But still, we're gonna
jumping
spoil it.
ahead. Not only was it the fact that it was meant to help sell toys, which I have no problems with, and they didn't really make it too abbreviated. So much of this story, we should probably do some plot synopsis and so forth, but was like, I wouldn't say just contrived, but it looked like someone's like, okay, I'm going to roll some dice and I'm going to have this person and this person in this page, and it's going to be based off of what came out of the dice, and I'm going to have them do this. And it was just like stuff that made no sense. And unfortunately, I was not. I mean, this is my first time reading this series. I've never
Wait,
read
what?
it before.
Really?
I never read Secret Wars
Oh
before.
man, I didn't know that.
So I was so looking forward to it because, I mean, I loved the Mike Zeck covers. I remember those fondly. I remember the toys. I remember everything that came up to this thing. And then when I actually started reading it, it's like, oh, why is this starting to hurt? Why am I hurting? This shouldn't be the case. And sure enough, it just got to be more and more disastrous as I continued to read it.
Oh man, this is like the 10th time I've read this series. And if you haven't picked up on it yet either, like it brings me back to my childhood. I was getting this when it was coming out. I love this
Yeah.
series. This is one of my favorite series ever. Full disclaimer though, I did review this book once before on part of another podcast when I was part of the big one, Comic Podcast with Ryan. We did review this series as well. So if you'd listen to that one, you already know I love the series. I've heard a lot of people complain about the premise. It's just one big fight thing. But I love it's just a big fight thing.
Yeah, and that's where, like, when you know it's for toys and it's promoting the toys, so how do you work with your action figures? You grab one action figure in one hand, one action figure in the other hand, and you just mash them together, And that's what this comic was. It's just like, okay, here's all these characters, mash them together, and that's what they did. The plot, kind of with all the contrivances and everything else, was kind of okay. Very, very simplified. A lot of the characters, I will say I appreciated a lot was, the fact that this was probably like the first time a lot of these characters had any sort of crossover connection with other characters in the Marvel Universe. And to have it in this large of a scope, that they interacted to this degree, like Galactus and the Lizard. I don't know if they've ever crossed over at any point other than this series, before this series. So it was great to kind of see the biggest of the bigs and the smallest of the small all in one title. And I can imagine at the time that this thing came out, it must, I mean, it was like a change the scope of the world. This was some key players from all their different titles, and to have all of them kind of appear in one book. I mean, it's like, if I was a little kid and I only had money for one comic a month or whatever, this would have been it. Because it was like, I get to see all of them all at one time and they interact. And, oh, this is amazing. So I fully understand like how this was a seminal series.
Yeah, a lot of my memory for this series, because I was reading Avengers and Uncanny X-Men and Captain America at the time, and they all had this issue that led up to this series. And sometimes it was just a couple panels at the end of the issue that said, oh, they went through this big old portal.
Yep.
And next issue, find out what happens, in Marvel Secret Wars, and then turn in next month to this series to find out what happens when they come back. and I loved that aspect of it where we didn't have to wait a year for them to come back to Earth. You kind of saw what happened when they reappeared the next issue, and then as you're reading this series, you try to figure out how they got to that point. Like how did
Yeah,
they
fill in the
like
gaps.
yeah, like Iron Man at the end of this series has this souped up armor because other people fix it up and play around with it, and then he comes back to his issue like the following month that he disappeared, so you didn't have to wait that long, and he suddenly has this huge set of armor. Now, of course, that same issue, he ditches that armor because it doesn't work right on the planet. Like, there's some repercussions here. Maybe Iron Man
Yeah,
was a bad example, but there's some things that didn't happen. Like, who cares?
yeah.
And
Ben Grimm.
yeah, Ben Grimm actually was one of the few that I think lasted because on
Yeah,
the Thing's own series, he spent a year on Battle World rather than come back. But a lot of the repercussions of the series didn't last very long. Although you could argue that this series introduced not only the black costume for Spider-Man, it broke up Colossus and Kitty Pryde. It brought She-Hulk into the Fantastic Four for a while. So there was some things that lasted a bit longer than just momentary sales or action figure line. I would have liked to have seen like maybe Daredevil or something with Alpha Flight or the Defenders maybe. It would have been great to see someone I didn't recognize quite as much. He could only fit so many characters into the 12 issue series, and I think he did a good job of each character got a little moment for characterization and stuff. I don't think he hit the X-Men all too hard, but some of them you actually could see some growth and some characterization in there. I think he did. Jim Shooter did a pretty good job.
yeah. It was good to kind of see a lot of these characters interact. Like when Captain America, and I'm kind of jumping ahead without kind of giving any pretenses or of what Captain America taking leadership, and they're like, "Oh, Mr. Fantastic, you're the smartest. You should take leadership," or "No, you're this. You should take leadership." And then it's like, "Oh, give it to Cap," and it's like, "Oh, I guess at this point it wasn't already assumed that
Right.
Cap was like the born leader that there's no debate." And then Doctor Octopus did the same. Like this is Doctor Octopus rules, and they were trying to get rid of Doctor Doom at the time,
Yeah.
and it's like, really, it's like Doctor Doom. No, obviously it's villain, so there shouldn't be any of that. Like, oh, they all get along, even though they're villains. It's like, no,
Right.
they're villains. They shouldn't get along. They all have their own agendas in mind.
Yeah. The basic plot of this series is this great being called the Beyonder who chose a certain amount of heroes and a certain amount of villains to duke it out on this battle world that he created, in hopes that the winner would get whatever they wanted. And I think it ultimately was Beyonder was just trying to understand humanity or whatever. Maybe that's Secret Wars 2, because yes, this did have a sequel, and it was terrible. But
Yeah, it was the downfall because I think out of Secret Wars 2, I believe that's where the new universe came from.
yeah, I think you're right.
Stemmed from that.
But so all these heroes appear on one spaceship in a different part of the universe, and all the villains appear on another one. Now I loved, in the past where we talked about, like even in Final Crisis, you wanted something like a roll call, like who is on this in this issue, who is the main characters here, and we didn't get it in Final Crisis, even though we enjoyed that series for the most part. But in Secret Wars, they at least did that right. They showed you with some great Mike Zeck art. They kind of just went down the list. Hey, here's this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, that was, well, I mean, it was kind of good for me because it gave a little context as to like, oh, that's right, that was this person at this time that person wasn't a big player, or this person, because I always had a soft spot regardless for like say Cyclops, but then they're like, Cyclops is considered a jerk, and it's like, what? He was a jerk? What? I don't get it. What? I didn't think it was. And it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, there was kind of a little like, some of those panels which were all the heroes who decide to stand side by side next to each other perfectly to kind of get that good establishing shot of who's who in this series.
Yeah, it was great. Little Mike Zeck, little figures. I really enjoyed that as it came out. I remember as a kid, I enjoyed these little panels, and I'm not sure why I did, because it didn't really. Maybe it was because I didn't know all these characters either, especially the villains. Even though I'd been collecting a while, I was more of a DC guy, so I'm glad that they told who these villains were, and so this little side-by-side roll call I enjoyed quite a bit.
One thing that was amazingly evident was, I can't recall if it was Jack Kirby who decided this, but Stan Lee helped perpetuate it, or if it was Stan Lee that decided this and then everybody else kind of followed. But villains, if you were a villain, you were green or purple, and those were colors for villains. And when there's that group shot of all of the villains, it's like, where does one body begin and the other one end? Because it's the same green and the same purple. There's not, I know at this time there wasn't computer coloring, that you'd have to do your own color separations, and there's all this other stuff. So there was a lot of issues where it's like, we just have to say this green, in order to replicate this green consistently, we can only use this particular green. If we want to use a lighter green, it has to be this lighter green. It can't be blue green. It has to be more of a yellow green or whatever. So there was, they spec'd out these colors. So anytime you see red, Spider-Man's red, Colossus is red, Nightcrawler's red, Iron Man's red, Captain America's red, Thor's red cape, or even the Human Torch for that matter, it's the same red. And so the heroes and villains were kind of like, when they did these group shots, it wasn't so bad with the heroes, but it was like a nightmare. It was easy for a colorist because they only had to figure out like, okay, here's the green, and that covers a good 50% of the villains. And here's the purple, that covers the other 50%.
Right.
Because it's like, I'm looking at the page, it has like the giant Galactus, and then all the villains are aligned. And it is almost a Where's Waldo to go, spot lizard. And it's like, holy crap, there he is. There's the lizard. He blends in against, Doctor Doom, Molecule Man, Kang, Dr. Octopus, and the Wrecker. And it's like, they all blur. Like, it's like, holy crap, even color couldn't help separate these guys. So, yeah, it was a great to see and be introduced to, because a lot of these characters, I never thought of the Molecule Man. And again, the spoilers kick in, how much he plays a role in this whole series.
Yeah, he's a big-time player later on.
Yeah, it's almost the equivalent of Golem from the Lord of the Rings, where it's like, oh, he was kind of a bit character in The Hobbit, kind of came and went, but it's like, oh, he plays a pivotal role. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, the heroes had to choose to go through the gate, although they were kind of forced to. The villains, I don't believe they went through a gate, but I'm not sure if they ever cover that in the story. I always just wondered that, but
there's that, and amongst the things that I didn't quite understand was like they kept trying to say there was a reason why Magneto was assigned with the good guys. And I kept thinking, they kept having to harp back to that. And it's like, then why was that? Was that something in the X-Men titles? Was he already about, like, were they planning on having him become like one of the co-leaders, mentors of the X-Men at that time? Or
well, this was like 182 or something on the X-Men title, and Magneto didn't even like. I know he taught at Xavier's school later on, but that was way past 200.
Oh,
Like
okay.
issue 200 was his trial.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, no, I not as far as I know, unless it was something going on in the New Mutants title. But even that, I think, was later. So
Yeah. Okay. So it's like, why they never really, at least from my understanding of what I read, never really gave it much of an explanation, because the same explanation that they gave for why Magneto was like, I do what's right for my people. And in my opinion, I am a hero. That would hold true for Doctor Doom. And it's like, so you dear listeners who are hearing me rant and rail, you'll have probably recall my issues with the X-Men and how that the X-Men should not exist in the Marvel universe,
right,
because
yeah,
it's like I'm looking at Cyclops and I'm looking at Hawkeye, and they're both identical costume wearing freaks. And it's like either I would hate both of them, or even the Hulk for that matter, because the Hulk looks even worse than Cyclops does. Cyclops has at least the proportions of a human and has some cool sunglasses.
well, everybody hates the Hulk. And this was Smart Hulk, and
This
I
was,
hated
yeah.
that.
So I'm going to throw something at you. I'm going to have a bit of, I'm not jumping into full blown trivia, but something that struck me odd was Marvel, like, was saying that Wasp was like a character that had like millions of costumes, hundreds upon hundreds and hundreds of costumes. Now, this one that she's wearing, was that the traditional one she wore in the Avengers? But this is like the most butt ugly costume I've ever seen the Wasp wear. And coincidentally, it's the colors of the villains.
Right.
And then, which makes me wonder, what's hygiene like for superheroes? And the reason why I'm asking why hygiene is like, because obviously if the Wasp has hundreds and hundreds of costumes, that would say that she would change her costume because she changed it a lot in the comics. But throughout this entire series, they are spending months, if not longer, on this planet. They never change their clothes. There's not a moment where it's like, oh, gotta go to the laundry, gotta get this thing repaired, or whatever. You know, outside of those characters who change their costumes for other reasons, like Ben Grimm goes from being the Rock to human, or Spider-Man gets the black costume.
Well, they show Captain Marvel, taking a bath. So,
True.
she's
The
at
one,
least clean.
yeah, well, that one time,
Right, that
I
one
took
time.
a bath.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it just hits. It's the Gilligan's Island paradox. They did not pack articles of clothing for that 3-hour tour because it's only a 3 freaking hour tour. You're not going to pack clothes, so they're on this island wearing the same clothes day after day after day. I think there would be some murders going on in Gilligan's Island.
Probably, yeah.
But here, it's like their costumes hold out. And they've had battles. They're constantly sweating it out. And it's like, yeesh.
Well, unstable molecules,
Yeah, that
they clean
explains.
themselves.
That explains all things.
That's right.
The unstable molecule
All the
concept.
pit stains just disappear.
Well, that's why Thor never had anything on his arms.
Right, exactly.
He always had kind of more or less a tank top kind of a thing. His shoulders and everything were exposed.
Right.
But poor Hawkeye, that's like chainmail theoretically that he's wearing. Captain America's the same. It's like that doesn't vent very well.
No one has to explain fashion to superheroes. It's just is.
Basically, issue 1, if you could summarize issue 1 in a sentence, what would you say?
Well, I mean, other than it's all set up, it was more of an introduction of the bad guys for me than anything else. And I think it needed that for many reasons. Just because the heroes more than you know the villains.
Yeah.
I knew Ultron from the Avengers reading, but I don't think I knew much of Galactus because I wasn't a big FF fan. And I definitely didn't know much about the Molecule Man, although he did show up in some early Avengers. But just, I love Doctor Doom. I think this is where my love for the Wrecking Crew came about, because I just every time I see them, I think, oh, this is great, this is great. Even though they're the most basic characters ever created.
We club things.
What do we do? We hit things with some wrecking balls.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, and the thing is like, Absorbing Man's got the same wrecking ball as
Yeah.
well. So it's
Right.
like, yeah, you kind of brought some redundancies here, Beyonder.
Yeah, I mean that's true. They could have chosen some different villains, maybe.
I always enjoyed the fact that they brought the same, like the arch enemy of, that they've paired them off. Spider-Man's here, so we need a Spider-Man villain, Lizard, and they did throw a Doctor Octopus as well, but Galactus even. It's like, well, there's Reed Richards and the Human Torch thing.
Yeah, and really only Magneto for the X-Men. They should have had the Juggernaut or something like that.
Somebody else, yeah, that would have been good, but
They do include other villains later that Doctor Doom creates.
that was going to be another question I was going to bring up. Where did these women come from? They do establish later on that there's an alien species, but they speak in that weird, like somebody decided to kind of like sneeze as they're writing, and that's the wording that they used.
Right.
Just scribble, 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 scribble. It's like that is a doctor's note for a prescription.
Right. Later on, they do show that several Earth cities were taken as a part of this creation of the world, and they were from those cities. I think it was part of Denver, maybe. I think, if I remember.
Okay.
So they're
'Cause, I mean,
human.
they're introduced as if like, oh yeah. So Doctor Doom walks down the hallway and he's talking about like that Magneto didn't want to join me. I can't believe it. And then there's just these two bodies in tubes.
Well, Doctor Doom always carries them around in a utility belt, and it's just,
Yeah. Which is kind of okay. I'm going to bring this up too. Is it just me or is this comic kind of pervy?
well,
Now that you bring that up, let's just
Yeah.
really talk about this whole issue.
there's plenty of pervy parts that we'll talk about. But certainly that one is one of them, where Doctor Doom just has these two women in a container, but
Yeah, they're packed in for freshness.
right, and no one's pervier than Iron Man trying to hit on Captain Marvel every time he sees her in
Yeah,
a panel. That was kind of annoying.
or the fact that let's go back to the Captain Marvel. She's bathing. When does Doctor Octopus attack Captain Marvel? When she's done.
You just
So-
watched.
He's sitting in those bushes, just like, doo-ba-doo-ba-doo.
Oh yeah. I don't want to know what he's doing with all those arms.
So I was dying. I'm like going, wait a minute. Like why does Thor let the Enchantress out?
Right, the only female in the group before Doom creates some more. But yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh my goodness. Yeah,
but-
so I mean, it just continues.
Yeah, there's a few panels here. Now in the book that you read digitally, did they fix the coloring on Galactus? There was a scene in the original print when Galactus yells, "You Beyonder," and starts to fly up out of the thing. He's miscolored, and he has a white helmet and white gloves and a white boot rather than the purple. And then
Oh wow.
yeah, I'll send you a picture of that one, but it's really amazing that got past somebody.
No, yeah, this has got the purples, the varieties of purples and blues.
Yeah, I happen to also have this digitally because I'm trying out the Comixology Unlimited, and this was on there. And that was corrected too, so I wondered if what you were looking at was correct.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, they George Lucas this thing then. Decided to make a special edition and change the always intended it to be that way.
Yeah, I sent it to you text-wise. Yeah, it was just funny that
Holy smokes. Wow, that is like, yeah. Well,
that's
if you look, all the colors are off. Like
Yep.
Doctor Doom's, like, oh man, it's like they missed plates completely. So when you do printing, it's that CMYK. There's 4-color print, and so this one looks like they only hit But no, that wouldn't make sense either because the blue is clearly there, but they just didn't like. There's no yellow, but then there's that like for some reason like on the digital, the flight path the Galactus leaves behind is urine yellow,
Oh, it is okay.
and then but in the one you're looking at, it is orange and not really well colored at that. It looks like there's like blobs on the side. That is really really weird.
I just thought that's. I mean, I didn't remember it until I turned the page and I thought, oh yeah, there's a miscoloring in this issue, isn't there?
Wow. I felt like this whole series, no, having, that we're only going to talk about the first six, but I will say because they bounce between Mike Zeck and Bob Layton on the art, and I know this only came out, every month, but it still felt rushed. Like they pulled them from other jobs and was like, hey, Mike Zeck, can you draw like 20 something plus pages quickly? I know you're working on this other title, but we need this turned like today. Because there's some aspects where it's like, I love Mike Zeck's art. It looks fantastic. But then there are some panels and some pages that are just like, what happened? And I don't know if it's the inker that was like, yeah, I kind of put this off way too long. I have to ink this all really quick. Or if it was Mike Zeck's art, but there are some aspects of it that are just like.
Yeah.
I also noticed though that he had a bit of an identity crisis himself. Mike Zeck did because in issue 1 he's called Michael Zeck, and then from that point on it's Mike Zeck. It's like one of those things where it's like, we're taking roll call, so we're going to call you by your proper name in the first issue. But now that I get to know you a little bit better, I'll call you by your nickname, Mike. And it's like, yeah, so issue 2, it goes right to Mike Zeck
Right.
instead of Michael Zeck. There are some artists who use a lot of muscle memory to draw faces. Mike Zeck, I would have to say, as much, like I said, I love his stuff. His Punisher stuff is unstoppable, on top. No one can draw the Punisher better than Mike Zeck, in my opinion. But there is some muscle memory when he draws a human head in 3/4. There is a thrusting of the chin that is a clear identifier that that's Mike Zeck. He always has that same kind of like, oh, the chin is pushed out a little bit further. And it is like, I think, the clearest evidence of this is, I believe, Wolverine on the cover of issue 1, that it has that protrusion of the chin that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And you can see it on Colossus on the cover of issue 1. You can see it on Cyclops, and you can kind of see it in She-Hulk. That there's that kind of like, this is, now granted the human faces and so forth are kind of common, that there's a lot of similarities, but for some reason he has that as like his go-to, is like, bonk, that chin pops out.
Yeah. To me, that cover is so iconic just because it's
It's
so
fantastic.
old.
Yeah, it's a great cover. I will say, though, that there's also probably a level in which it seems a little assembled. Like, okay, I'm going to draw Cap first, and then I'm going to draw Wolverine, then I'm going to draw Cyclops, and then, and it's just one of these things where I'm just going to continue to build outward, and then whatever little spaces I have left, I'll put the other people in there.
Right, yeah.
So, like, Rogue, I'll just squeeze her in over here.
I need somebody right there.
Yeah, I got a little gap underneath Captain America's arm, but I don't want to leave that open.
It is
so I'm gonna
interesting
put-
how many X-Men they shoved on the cover when they're really not much in issue 1.
No, and there's no Reed Richards. And when you think of current, Thor's not on here. One thing, and I don't know if it gets addressed later, and you had mentioned that, Kitty Pryde and Colossus breaks up, but that Lockheed, the dragon, was pulled onto this battle planet. What role does he play? Why was that character introduced?
Yeah, he shows up later, of course.
Oh, okay.
And I know what happens when he gets back to Earth and that storyline there, but I'm trying to remember if he plays a part in the Secret Wars, and I don't remember. I know he does show up briefly again, and he has a friend, but I don't think it really is any significance to this story.
Yeah, because it's like, it's one of those things where there's got to be a rhyme or a reason. It's like, why did this get introduced? Where is this coming from? These characters were chosen for a reason, and what was the reason for each of these characters? Because it's like, you had the entire Marvel universe to pull from.
Right.
Why did you pick these characters? And that's where it's like, okay, so that's why Galactus was here. Because one of the things, like, in my opinion, with Galactus, why, it's like you want to show somebody, and they establish it well in the first issue, saying, hey, look, Galactus is such a big character that all the other villains are inconsequential to Galactus. And then you see Galactus fly off to fight this Beyonder, and then he's even swatted down. So it's like, holy crap, if this guy was so above the other villains and he's swat down, the Beyonder must really be beyond.
Can't do anything to the Beyonder itself. They have to play the game in order to move along.
Oh, and that reminds me of a couple of the other pervy moments. And it's like, what the heck? This other pervy moment is like Magneto forcing himself onto Wasp, like almost out of the blue.
Yeah, it's really creepy. And I wondered in my own mind whether they ever play up this part with the Wasp and Magneto again. Like in a different series, or
Yeah.
they ever mention again. I don't ever remember it being brought up again, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. I know Magneto and Rogue eventually, when they beautify Rogue a little bit more than she is in this series, I know they have an affair of some sort in the Savage Land, but I don't remember anything about the Wasp and Magneto after this. But if you, the listeners, remember anything about that, please let us know, and we'll read it on the air.
And then what's going on with this, like, Molecule Man and this Volcana? It's like, that kind of, like, again, something blossomed, so to speak, out of nowhere. And it's like, I don't see where they had any connection other than, like, she saw him do a thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm madly in love with you. And it's like...
Yeah, they do kind of force some relationships with the new characters right away, and that pairing where they do Volcana and Molecule Man, and then they do Titania and Absorbing Man, those relationships last beyond this series too. Like whenever you would see Molecule Man, you'd see Volcana for a while, and I don't know if that's still true or if they even use that character anymore, and then you'd see Absorbing Man and Titania, or I think that's her name. They would be together too for a while and show that. I don't know if that relationship ever was like a love relationship, but they would team up. Yeah, they have some creepy moments, that's for sure. And then they hit upon like even the opposite of that, where a lot of these hero characters, they're all mopey and, I'm trapped on Battle World because my love interest is back on the planet. And they hit that, especially in this first issue, a few times. First couple issues, like Cyclops just apparently got married and left Madeline Pryor back on Earth, and he's all mopey. And then Hawkeye just got married to Mockingbird, and he's all mopey. Reed Richards is all mopey because Invisible Woman, who surprisingly wasn't there, but was pregnant back on Earth as well. So, it's like, all these guys, so woe is me, I'm never going to see my loved one. The Thing with Alicia Masters, that too.
That's like almost all of them.
Right, yeah, it's like, okay, guys. I like the characterization, don't get me wrong. I do, and it gives you knowledge of this character that maybe you don't have. Like, in their own title, they have this character with all this love interest and stuff. But after having, 4 of them say it within 2 panels or 1 page of each other, where it got to be a little too much.
Yeah, it was.
And then Colossus with Kitty Pryde, it's like, oh man, come on.
I mean, that's honestly, I mean, that's one of the key things with like the Marvel universe is that they try to establish realistic relationships and interactions with, we'll say, NPC type characters.
Yeah.
In some ways, like the Betty Brants for the Spider-Man. It was well established. We'll put it that way.
Right.
In this particular issue one, it's like, like to go back to the initial question I had posed of, can you summarize it in one sentence? To me, it was kind of like a collection of powerful people bickering and whining. And it was like, why are we here? Why am I not powerful? Why can I find people that understand me? It's just like,
I've had Christmases like that before, though.
it's like, I think they need a superhero therapist. They need the Doc Samson to come over and just, okay, Galactus, just tell me what it is about this hunger that you have.
Tell me about what you're feeling right now.
Because even his like explanation is like, I hunger so badly, you can make it go away. And it's like, come on, it's freaking Galactus. It's like I must have this thing where I can be fulfilled that I don't have to eat planets anymore. It's like, dude, your name is like Galactus, Devourer of Worlds. It's in your name. You don't devour a world, then you're just Galactus, and that's kind of your
boring.
Yeah, it's like Galactus, the gardener.
Right.
It's like, oh, I got good petunias, and I got some galadolias, and I got
I was just laughing about your Galactus the Gardener voice. We need a whole segment on that. Oh, petunias! It sounds like Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, I must say. Don't step on the daisies.
That's great.
Yeah, so I don't know, it just cracked me up though. It's like, man, oh man, why are you here? You're a villain. It's just nothing but a bunch of people complaining. It's like yeah, to your point, it's like if I wanted to hear a bunch of people complain, I just go to have one company meeting. These are superheroes.
Doom gets shot down by Kang, and they made some comments that Kang's like a descendant of Doom.
Yeah, I didn't catch that before, but apparently he is.
I mean, is that still true? I'm not sure. I know Kang and Immortus or Mortius or whatever, and I know there's the Pharaoh. That's all his timeline, but I didn't know Doom was in the middle of that. I don't know if that's still.
Yeah, great grandfather or whatever.
Yeah. Poor Magneto can't get anybody to be his friend.
If you only had Captain America to talk to him.
Right, yeah. Or Brian Michael Bendis to write for him.
Write him some dialogue.
Yeah, even in my notes I say Magneto captures the Wasp and is creepy. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I just was like so many moments of just like, ugh, I feel uncomfortable reading this. And it's like, this is all coming from the mind of one person. So then it's like, when you see this happen that many times and it's all coming from one person, it's like, what's in your thought process here, Jim Shooter?
Right.
What are you getting out of these? I'm looking at it as escapism. I'm looking at it as like, check out these ridiculously, overpowered people doing things that are so impossible. Right. And he's over here going like, hey, what happened if Doc Ock just happened to come across a lady in this, bathing? And it's like, yeah, the timing on that one just was too perfect for it to be like not intentional.
Now, issue 2 had some cool Mike Zeck battle moments.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about his battle drawings and stuff, but I really like how in the story the two groups will duke it out, and like the initial blow will take out a couple of the heroes or villains. Like they didn't just drag it all out. Like the first salvo of shots would take out by surprise some of these heroes and stuff. So it was kind of neat. I really enjoyed that part, that aspect of the battle. Who was left up had to survive long enough and help everybody else escape.
And it showed that there was some intent of consequences. That there wasn't just a matter of like, the heroes will always win and they'll come out unscathed. And it's like, no, Rogue just got taken down quick. And
Yeah.
then She-Hulk herself just got backhanded. It's like, oh, wow, this is 3 frames.
Yeah.
Just pow pow. No, obviously She-Hulk bounces back. And I think it's due to the fact that She-Hulk has those leg warmers that those ever so timeless fashion accessories.
Ah, the 80's.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it's like, yep, leg warmers. Like she's about ready to like go, I'm kicking butt and doing jazzercise. While they're doing that, Magneto just takes off. And it's like, so this whole hullabaloo about why are you with the good guys? And then he just leaves.
He's like,
And
I'm
it's
out
like,
of here.
yeah, there was a full issue of nothing but them complaining about him being there, and then he leaves, and it's like, oh, then that was kind of that whole issue was just wiped out of continuity almost immediately.
What do we do that for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't obviously a big deal because he just was like, I'm out. See ya. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah. I found it interesting that even in issue 2, they recap issue 1, and then in issue 3, they recap. Like I don't know, did he think they were going to sell out, and then they had to explain it? I like recaps, but it was kind of like from the Byrne era. Here, I'll show you in one page. I'll waste one page telling you what happened last issue before we get on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe in trade, it's kind of redundant. But I can see, monthly how it would be helpful. But
Again, it's a case of how amazing Doctor Doom is. I mean, they establish him as being like unstoppable.
yeah, he
It's like-
fixes Ultron. I mean,
Yeah, and almost instantaneously. It's like while he's keeping his lady friends encapsulated in Tupperware containers.
stay right there,
he's-
ladies. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I gotta work on this ultra sophisticated machinery, and then and gets them up and running in no time. And it's like, huh, that was a quick fix. Galactus just kind of does his own thing, but
Yeah, I love the idea of an Ultron bodyguard for Doom, though. That's
yeah, because that gives him a clear like threat level. It's like if this is who I can kind of control and maintain, then it's like, yeah, these conveniently placed buildings for them all. I'm like, okay, the good guys found a new building. Hey, let's check this out. Oh, it's conveniently just right for all of us. And then Magneto takes off, and it's like, hey, I found a building right next to a power source. How convenient for me. And
Where's the
yeah.
Wasp?
Yeah, yeah.
Here, I made some sandwiches for you. I'll let you out of your cage.
And then Chris, I mean, it's like, come on, Jared from Subway. It's like, how creepy are you? Jeez. But then not only that, there's another sequence now. This dude, they go into like, he can fly because he can control even the gravity, the magnetic flow around a planet. But then he wants to make a freaking comb he's breaking a sweat. And it's like you see like sheer concentration on Magneto's face, and he's just straining. Like, how is it that I have to make this? And it's like he's just making a freaking comb. And yet he's able, master of magnetism, and there's metal all around him. He was able to make a cage instantly to capture Spider-Man and Wasp. And then, yeah, the strain he takes to make a comb. I was like, this makes zero sense.
Yeah. Issue 3 is probably my favorite of the series. And I think that's the comb creation scene. It wasn't because of that, but issue 3, just for me, was a Spider-Man issue. Even on the cover, it's Spider-Man versus the X-Men. And I've always been fascinated by this battle, and it just shows how powerful Spider-Man is, that he can whip the floor with the X-Men in like 3 pages or less. He just takes them all out, says see ya, and is out of there.
Yeah.
But it's a great. It's always been one of my favorite scenes. Is just Spider-Man, and I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. This scene where he overhears the X-Men wanting to leave and go join with Magneto, and he's like, no, and then just takes them all out. Or
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like, there are moments when you really realize that some of these characters can be truly like threat levels that you wouldn't, if put in the right area. I mean, talking, going back to the intent of Molecule Man later in the series, it's like he was kind of a know nothing character. Here's Spider-Man, who's like still technically, oh no, kind of a teenager, late teens, early 20s at this point. I think he was out of the high school at this point in his career, taking out, some of the top mutants in the world. And again, a little creepy that, Professor X is like, yeah, I just wiped his whole memory.
right, yeah, it does end with Professor X just going, erase.
Yep. Yeah. The, ultimate nullifier kind of a cheat.
Yeah, but of course, in this series, it seems like everybody can beat up the X-Men because later on, the Wasp also takes out the X-Men. And you're thinking, oh, the X-Men really aren't that powerful, are they? If the Wasp can beat them up.
Yeah. But there's some kind of aspects where it's just like the faces look a little odd. And this is where I think the rush feels most evident is issue 3 on the Mike Zeck. And like I said, is it Mike Zeck or is it the inker? Because there's some areas where the ink is like super heavy, and then other areas where the ink is just barely applied on a face.
Yeah, John Beatty is the inker.
So it's like, I don't know who necessarily to blame. And I'm kind of leaning more towards the inker, that they didn't quite figure it out. So like, if you look again, going back to the Tupperware women, there's some weird jaggedness, at least on my copy, my digital copy. Like it looks like they are like cut and put back in, or it just looks like a really bad Photoshop job all the way around. They got like heavy outlines in some spots. It's almost like a coloring book in some aspects of it. So I don't know. That's why I keep coming back to thinking it's like the inking is just not quite right.
Yeah,
like I said, Zeck is great, but this is like oof.
I just see that image of him walking in, and there's the two ladies in the canisters, and hello, ladies. Tink, tink.
I'll be with you in a moment. Make yourself comfortable in your Tupperwares.
Right. It's just that whole panel right there makes me laugh now. Thank you.
You never look at it the same.
Nope.
And so much of the stuff where it's like, whew, selling action figures, are we?
Right, yeah. Selling action figures and Jim Shooter watching daytime television soap operas.
Now, I don't know if it's the coloring or if it's just some of the aspects of it, but if you would, dear listeners, if you have a copy at home, there's that they want to show the powers of Titania and Volcana. So what do? They show Volcana grabbing a bunch of rubble and just melting it down, just making a slag out of it. And then Titania comes in and it's like, look I can lift this thing up. What she lifts up to me looks like a Christmas turkey. And I can't unsee a Christmas turkey. I don't know if it's just we're reading it at this time of the year, whatever it is, now that, Christmas is just kind of come and gone and we're, looking at the new year. But I can't help it. It's like, that's a giant turkey she's picking up.
Okay, now I can't unsee that. That is a turkey leg.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? See?
And then she's not hungry. She throws it out the window.
Yeah, it must have been a Griswold turkey. A little dry. So, yeah, again, like, having not read it, not knowing where this is leading or where, but it's like these women come from nowhere. And it was very evident, like, with those establishing shots in issue 1, this was going to be your cast of characters. There weren't going to be any more surprises. You knew that this was like, it would be like watching the TV show Survivor. And it's like, okay, episode 1, here's, all the contestants. And then when you get down to the last 2 episodes, we just brought in a whole new cast. And you're like, what? So when they introduce these new characters, the Titania, the Volcana, and then later Spider-Woman shows up, it's like, did you paint yourself into a corner and you realize, I need to have some more people in here. I didn't really think this thing through.
They introduced the claw later.
That's
And
true. That's true.
so
Yeah.
it's spread out a little bit, and maybe some of that is just wanting to have some surprises. And then, of course, I mean, even back then, females didn't sell action figures, so I'm not sure why they're introducing more females to the action figure line. Like, there wasn't ever a Volcana figure, right? Or
No. No.
okay, so they weren't to sell figures apparently.
Nope.
Thor and Enchantress go teleport away to a makeout point
Yeah.
somewhere. And then we get the weirdest panel ever in any comic. You can fight me for it, but you get the storm has abated, and suddenly you see what was going on during the roughest part of the storm. You see the Hulk wake up next to Captain America, who's still sleeping it off.
Yep. Looking very content and fulfilled.
That's right. Now, I don't know, and this I do remember joking about this the last time I talked about this series, but what was going on with the Hulk and Captain America that they slept together. And then
Boom, boom,
does
boom.
anyone ever bring up this relationship ever again?
Ew.
Is there a love child somewhere that happened on the Battle World?
Captain Hulk Jr.
You know, I had some thoughts about maybe Magneto and the Wasp having a child, but I never pondered the Hulk and Captain America.
And the fact that the following panel says, Hulk, why didn't you wake me?
Yeah, he blames the Hulk for him having slept through, his alarm.
Yeah, it's like, I got gym class in
Right.
3 minutes.
Why didn't you wake me, honey? I mean, Hulk.
I'm no kidding. You could have at least nudged me. Jeez.
Call me, as he's running away.
Yeah. I'm not leaving his number.
Right. Volcana versus She-Hulk. Volcana wins. And then you get creepy Doc Ock, who's probably spent the last hour just sitting there in the bushes.
Keep the water warm.
And then Hawkeye's right there. You never know what Hawkeye was doing.
True.
But,
True. Get away from her, turkey.
Yeah.
The ultimate superhero insult.
Not turkey.
He called me turkey.
But that's probably one of my favorite issues. Of course, issue 4, the cover. I've loved this cover for so long with the Hulk and a mountain.
I have to say that some of the wording on the cover kind of negates the ominous tone. One of the best stunts in all movie history was in a James Bond film, and it's where they take the car and it makes this leap over a bridge that has broken. And the stunt people had to coordinate it, had to reinforce it. Days, if not months, were spent perfecting this bridge so that the car would run and hit it, and it would start to turn the car just enough so that when the bridge ended, the car would continue to, barrel roll, if you would, over and then land on the other side of the river on the other part of the bridge and ride off. An amazing stunt, so well coordinated, such an amazing, like the danger level is like through the roof, how much coordination. They shoot it all goes well. And it's like, dang, that's amazing. Then somebody in editing said, you know what we need on this? We need a penny whistle. And the whole thing is completely undermined by the stunt. But like this one goes over, and you hear, and it's like, holy crap! I mean, you just took all of this amazing stunt, and you just discredited the whole thing. It might as well have been performed by puppets. And it's like, oh. So the same thing happened here with this cover. To your point, the imagery would have been so great if they had taken the words off the cover. And you get it. You get that there's this massive thing crushing down and the Hulk is the only one holding it up. But then they basically had to smack you in the face. It's like, if you don't understand what a drawing is, I'm going to put it in words.
Right.
And it's like, beneath 150 billion tons. As if 100 billion wasn't enough. They had to put that extra little half
And
of them.
50.
150 billion tons stands the Hulk. And he's not happy. And you're like, oh boy.
I'm concerned about Captain America's size of his shield there on the out cover. I mean, that's like huge.
His sled?
Right, yeah. That's
Man.
like, that could cover half of them. Yeah.
So yeah, we made it to
Issue 4. Yep. Molecule Man sends a mountain, basically, onto the retreating heroes after they were defeated in their own headquarters. Thor and Enchantress have a moment, and then a great battle against Thor and 13 of the villains starts. And Thor, I mean, he loses in the end, but
vaporized, it would seem.
Yeah, but he kicks some butt. I like that. I wasn't really a big fan at the time, so after reading that, I thought, oh, that was pretty cool. So that was nice. And then we see the X-Men briefly, and they join with Magneto, and then the Wasp kicks their butt and leaves.
But this is where the comb comes in.
Oh yeah.
It takes not one, not two, but 5 panels for Magneto to make a comb.
Right, that you would need some music for that, I think.
Yeah. It's like
And he's
watching
sweating, yeah.
Yeah, it's like watching those like strong men try to take a Yellow Pages and rip a phone book apart. It's like that level of like, wow, I'm impressed. Never will I ever need to know that somebody can rip a Yellow Pages in half, but this is like he made a comb.
Right. Surprise.
And then it's like, no, how complicated is a comb? It's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's literally just a straight thing. It has like these little teeth, tines or whatever they're called. And then he's like, hands this over and it's like, I trust this will suffice. As if he created like, here's the cure for cancer. And he's trying to play it off like, ha ha ha. You made a freaking comb.
Right.
How complicated is that?
It didn't even have any electronic parts.
Yeah, there's nothing moving to it. It wasn't like, it doesn't breathe. It's not even like I got a music box in it. Nothing. It's just a comb. And he's like stunned. It's like, oh, why, thank you. And you look around, like they do a wide angle shot in the next panel. And there's so much scientific gizmos going on all around him. And he is enamored by the fact that he made a comb.
Right. What's next? You're going to start a fire?
Yeah. I will make you the best spoon you've ever seen in your life. Just wait for it.
Next, I'm going to make you a Salisbury steak in the microwave.
Crap, it's Bert. I hope you don't mind a little tough meat. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna let you get back to the recap, but I'm still 5 freaking panels.
5 panels.
I mean, the fight with Spider-Man, the fight with the Wasp and the X-Men, actually is kind of like 1 panel more.
Right.
And it's like you spent 5 panels showing how you can make a comb, and then a fight sequence takes just a couple panels more than that.
Milk it out. Milk the scene out.
Stretch. We gotta fill some pages.
Yeah. Okay. So all the heroes are under a mountain, and
Correct.
well, except the X-Men, they're all using the comb or whatever. But
Fighting over the comb.
they wake up Reed Richards, and he tinkers with web shooters and Hawkeye's arrows and Iron Man's armor, and then channels Johnny Storm and Captain Marvel to shoot repulsors out of Iron Man's chest and arms and blows a hole in the mountain.
I just wish Hulk wasn't making the I gotta poop face.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't really crazy about Bob Layton art. Sometimes
Yeah.
it was pretty good, but other times, especially under the mountain, I thought there could have been a better choice of faces,
Just a touch.
especially the Hulk.
Yeah. The entire issue of him like going like, oh, gotta hold it in.
Right.
We should not have had those burritos.
Right. We find out Thor was chipping away at the mountain, and that's the thunder that they heard before. They are all together again. They go to this village where it's just under the view of Galactus, who is perched on a mountainside doing something mysterious. And there's coincidentally a healer in the village who can heal all the heroes of their problems. And Human Torch gets creepy with her instantly and wants to do strange things to her. And of course, also later on, Colossus suddenly is in love with this healer as well.
I mean, the artwork is, there are some questionable things. This one was kind of a struggle just visually. And at no point, like, going back to earlier in the issue, Ultron zaps some sort of thing that was next to Thor, disintegrating it. And then he moves over and disintegrates thing, and to the point where Dr. Octopus says, so it would appear that nothing's left but his helmet and scraps of his cape. This means we've won. And then it's like, okay, so I guess he disintegrated Thor. Holy crap, that's ridiculous. And then he just shows up like, I've been trying to knock a hole in this mountain.
Yeah, I thought it was just, they showed an image of his arm. I thought Thor had just left his arm there, and it was really gross and grotesque little imagery there. But no, it just meant that he lived. I don't know, now that you've done accents of Dr. Octopus, I'm not sure I'm going to hear that character ever again the same,
Yeah, of course. I know Octavius, it's got to have an accent. You don't have a name like that without tossing out some accent.
I always have a problem with accents. When I was working at a local store, a guy and his son came in. I worked in plumbing, so I dealt with a lot of plumbing issues and stuff like that. And he came up to me and he asked if I knew where the flash water was. And he kept saying this, flash water. Do you know where the flash water is? And I had never heard of flash water, but I'm not a plumber, so I'm thinking, what is it? A special liquid that you pour down something and it flushes the system out, or something like that. And I'm looking at him, and he's clearly has an accent.
Yeah.
And he clearly knows that I don't know what the heck he's talking about. and he smiles and looks at his son, and he says, oh, these young kids today, they don't know what a flash water is. And it took me a minute to finally pierce his accent to where I finally realized he wasn't asking me a plumbing question at all. He was asking me where the fly swatters were in the store. It's like flash water, and he would say it faster. And for a minute there, I looked at him and thought, he thinks I'm an idiot. That I don't know what a fly swatter is. And I said, oh, a fly swatter. Yeah, those are over there. Thank you very much.
Fly swatter, that is so great.
Flash water.
That's so great. Yeah, because you just wonder, it's like, in his head, he was thinking like, oh, I'll say it one more time, but more slowly for this guy.
Right.
Flash water. Flash water, got it. Who gave you the right to vote? If you can't figure this out, you shouldn't have it.
Something to kill flies with?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. But yeah, so Thor, getting back to this story. It's like he just shows up again. And it's like, in battle with Doom's forces, I learned of your plight. I used a flashlightning to blind them while I escaped. And it's like, you're not freaking Mr. Miracle. How the heck did you just teleport?
Right.
Because they blasted you into oblivion. And it's like, I just kind of quickly walked away.
Right. They didn't see me.
Yeah. And they said I used flash. So he blinded them. But in that panel, it was clearly he got fried. But yeah, the lettering, I mean, so much of this stuff just looked lazy this issue. Lettering for the aliens speaking was basically somebody just like going, hey, my son's interested in lettering. I'll let him do all the alien dialogue.
Here, honey, draw some lines.
Yeah. In this issue of Family Circus, Billy gets to draw. And it's like, oh. So there's just weirdness with the people. There's weirdness in the faces. There's weirdness with the inking. There's weirdness. I couldn't quite grasp what was happening.
Yeah, how do you pronounce that alien healer's name?
Those are moments where I just kind of like, I kind of look at the word and I can just kind of like gloss over, skip, moving on. I know that's what it's supposed to be, but moving on. Baby, I'll tumble for the number 4, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say that.
And it's like, you know, I mean, because you know everybody's going to be familiar with Culture Club.
Right.
That'll never go away. So
Right. That line is eternal, isn't it?
yeah, and I'm just befuddled. And then the response was from Iron Man is like, is this something from Fat Albert? Yeah. What do you call a teacher on vacation? No class. A teacher in summer, you know, it's just no class.
Yep.
You know, it's like, Torch, you got no class, man.
Right.
It's like, Shooter, you were editor. Leave it at that. Sometimes you just need to edit, not to actually write.
Right, yeah.
Wow, I think I'm in love, baby. I'll tumble for you. Torch,
Wah, wah.
you got no class. And then you're waiting for like the next panel's like Bill Cosby. Well, the kids did learn a lot, and we got some Jello,
Some pudding pops.
pudding pops. And it's like you might learn a thing or two. The stark smarminess hadn't quite taken a full effect at that point.
Right.
You know, and the thing is like, again, going with the MCU, everybody's kind of like, you know, these roles are now associated, you know, these characters are now associated with the actors who have played them in the movies. Could you imagine Robert Downey Jr. at that moment going, Torch, you got no class.
Yeah.
I am Iron Man.
Well, I don't know if you've caught on to that, but it's not Iron Man Tony Stark in there, you know.
Oh, I didn't know. For some reason, I didn't make that
It's
connection.
not. It's Rhodey.
Yeah, so it was at that era.
And then
Yeah.
issue 5.
I'm so befuddled because it's just like, this is a consequential series. And having read it for the first time, I was just like, maybe it was because it was like the first. So sometimes it's like, you know, when you hear at one point, like, yeah, leeches, that's what we need to help on medical. And, you know, doctors are like, you know, and then 9 out of 10 doctors recommend, you know, Winston smokes for your T-zone. And it's like, yeah, at one point doctors thought smoking was okay.
Right.
You know, and it's just like, you know, at some point somebody thought, yeah, this is actually pretty good writing. And we've elevated ourselves since then or not, I don't know. But this is just kind of rough and tumble.
Yeah. Well, I've read some Bendis that's similar to this, you know.
True. But this actually has action. There's actually something happening. The plot has moved forward.
Right.
So that's the opposite of a Bendis title.
If Bendis wrote this series, it would have lasted at least 3 years.
Yeah, it would have been a 36 issue series and involved like 4 characters just talking to each other. Over, it's like, this omelet is really good, Captain America. How did you use, what ingredients? And then he'd use the rest of the panel to describe what ingredients went into making the omelet.
Right. And then he washed his clothes with all temperature. Issue 5 had the Human Torch and the Alien Healer doing a bong, which was pretty
Yeah. That was like, and it still got the Comics Code stamp of approval.
cool. Right. And there's your flashback about everything that happened in the previous 5 issues.
Yeah, but did you
As
notice how, again, the artwork, it just like some of it's reprinted,
Yeah.
like the assembly of this battle world was clearly a reprint of the previous one. But those head clusters, it's like somebody was like, and this is what I feel like, because Bob Layton, when he was doing the Iron Man run, and then later on as he was doing a lot of stuff for Valiant comics,
he can
he
draw.
got really good.
Yeah.
But what this head clusters, it's like that Ultron and Lizard. It's like, is Lizard a blackberry? What is that? It's like a blackberry with eyes, green blackberry with eyes. And, it's just, there's so much. It's just like, you just made a shape and then just threw hair on it. That was how you differentiated the characters.
Yeah. Can I just say that, when they end the scene with Johnny and Zsa, Zashi,
Gabor.
Zashi, yeah, Zashi and Human Torch, and they're making out, and then it creepily cuts to Colossus sitting there half naked on a bed, clutching his pillow, thinking about Kitty. It's just another creepy factor in this whole series, where you just kind of see him biting his lip, clutching this pillow. It's just really odd.
Yeah, I don't think body pillows were a thing at the time, but I think they may have been inspired by this particular issue. It's like, dadgummit. And then to have even more creepy, it's like Professor X's head shows up. It's like, Peter, what are you thinking, dude?
Yeah, that is really creepy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like,
And he's like, yes, Professor, at once.
yeah.
Let me put my pants on first.
Yeah, I can't stand up right now.
Give me 5 minutes, Professor.
That's why these things are called the Secret Wars. Man. And then the Dr. Seuss equipment that's going on in this. Oh, man, it just gets weirder.
It is. I've never picked up on how weird it is.
And there are elements, like, again, it's the inker or something, but like the Volcana has that same heavy black outline around her. It's as if, like, I don't remember how to draw muscles on women, so I'm just going to make it kind of like a noodle.
Yeah, they make some jokes about how fat she is, or, like, she's cow-like.
Super tall.
Yeah, and it's just really kind of awkward in today's society where they probably wouldn't say things like that in a comic.
No.
I mean, these are the villains, so, I mean, they're not bad. They're not good guys anyway, but it's just really weird.
Yeah, it's and some of the dialogue. I mean, to add to it, it's like, Absorbing Man has this great line. It's like, yeah, after I busted a couple of guards' heads, they gave me this sucker to slow me down, but I just turned around and used it on them. And then the other character, which I believe is named Wrecking Ball, is mine's a Wrecking Ball. It's like that character from Family Guy. It's like, okay, we're going to check in with our weatherman. It's raining sideways. It's just like, well, okay. All right. Now back to the sports. It's just like, and then, the other character, it's like, moo. And it's just, and then Tisk.
Tisk. Yeah.
Let's get away from here, Marcia. Why those? Oh man, I almost want to do a Power Records of this whole comic. Power Records presents, and then just do this whole thing. Tell me again, Sam. You know, that classic stuff. But this whole dialogue, this whole interchange, everything about it just feels like the that old Charles Atlas, King of the Beach. You know, you kick sand in my face. Well, I'll show you one day. I won't be 96-pound weakling. And then you come back to the same beach years later. It's like, oh, you've held on to a grudge a long time. And you kick that dude's butt.
Molecule Man creates this flying chariot, I guess, out of solidified air molecules. I mean, basically, he's a wizard, right? I mean, he can do anything he wants. Galactus seems to have summoned his ship from the outer reaches of space. And Doom knew that all along, of course, because he's got a plan. Mr. Fantastic tries to persuade Galactus by whispering in his ear.
Sweet nothings.
Sweet nothings, and then Galactus swats him away and then sends this big giant robot to fight the good guys. And there's a little battle with the robot, the Thing, and Human Torch.
Human Torch, yep. Yeah, when the giant robot blasts, you basically vomit onto all these characters, it's one of those things where it's like, as an artist, how would you represent them being affected by whatever it is that's coming out of this guy, this robot? It's like, it's firing some kind of goop that's paralyzing them. But if you look at Thor's face, it's like, what is that? That is like, you know, if I had told my 10-year-old son to draw something at that time, that's what it would have looked like. And it's like, no, this is professional comics. And then the very next page, that droid thing that they're standing, or the villains are riding in, looks like something that George Perez would have drawn, for correct pronunciation. Perez. And it's like, dang. So what's going on? From like one page to the next, it's like things fall apart visually to being like, things are like amazingly well done. So yeah, issue 5 was just kind of a good filler issue. I wouldn't say there was anything like too remarkable about it, other than, you know, I mean, there's a couple key moments, but
Colossus falls in love with the healer because she gets around, and then Doom ends up being on Galactus's ship and finds something as a cliffhanger for the next issue.
bum bum bum.
No.
And then yeah, issue 6 cover, kind of paying homage to issue 1 cover.
Right, yeah, it's the villains this time.
Yeah.
Bob Layton. Actually kind of like this better. I don't know.
I think there's a little bit more even spacing of the characters, so they kind of feel like they all kind of had a little bit more dedicated space available to each one.
Yeah.
That they were less tucked into corners or under someone's armpit.
Right.
You know, and then having the Galactus kind of like recede into the background, but still being like, you know, the central figure of it all.
Issue 6 is back to Mike Zeck, which I'm very glad. And it starts out with the Wasp. You know, you wondered what happened to her for the last couple issues. Right, Mike? You wondered what happened to her, right?
Always, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like she had a comb, and I thought all her needs were met.
Right.
That she would never have another care in the world.
It's kind of the loser section of Battle World, because you get the Wasp, and she encounters the Lizard, who ran away like after the first battle or something. I'm not sure anymore. Doom finds Claw, who seems to be much of a loser too, and because he's there because the Dazzler, you know, absorbed him and then shot at Galactus. I wonder what issue that was, where Dazzler versus Galactus.
Yeah, usually there's always like the editor's note. This happened in, you know, this issue of this to this. Like, I was killed by the Dazzler. I mean, would you really announce that out loud?
You know, I have some issues of the Dazzler, and I'm looking through it here. And sure enough, issue 10, Dazzler fights Galactus. And I own it. I haven't read it yet, obviously. And the plot is, let's see, back in 1981, Dazzler absorbs immense amounts of power when battling Claw, and gained the notice of Galactus. She has now been recruited to bring Terrax the Tamer back from the black hole he traveled through and turn him over to Galactus. Wow. I didn't know she had it in her. And then
Razzle dazzle dazzle.
issue 11, she battles Terrax for the final judgment of Galactus. Huh. I'll have to get those out of storage and read those.
Yeah, actually, that sounds like a better plot than this series has been so far.
Right. I'm more interested in that than I am anything else right now. So on the next, and this is why I love comics, basically this issue is filler for the most part because it's the X-Men fighting some villains. Wolverine cuts Molecule Man a bit to take him out of the picture for a while, and the Wasp gets killed by this laser, and then that's about it, right? I mean, that's all that really was important in that issue.
Well, that and this, like, really, again, more cringe with Colossus having this, like, torn dreams between, mystery woman healer and then again, he's found in a reclining pose, making some awkward faces.
Well, I mean, he's young. He's still learning about his body.
Yeah, my body, myself, or whatever. It's like, okay, I will be true to Kitty. Oh wait, he's got a Russian accent. I keep forgetting about that. And then it's like he's saying that out loud, and it's like, what? Like the previous page is like him thinking. It's like, no. I must remember, I will think only about Kitty. And it's like, okay.
Katya.
And then, out loud, I will be true to Kitty.
Oh
and
no, my skin is turning to steel. What is happening to me?
And then again, this woman comes in, does the job, like he's now reclined and refreshed and fulfilled. She leaves, and as soon as like, okay, next, now serving number 2.
Right.
The Human Torch, with apparently his dialogue can only be done in the forms of music references. It's a thriller night.
Yeah, his annoying white guy is what he is.
Oh man, and it's like. She's speaking in her little gobbledygook, and it ends on this like really weird like Colossus face of like, why is he making that face and where's his hands?
Right.
And it's like, oh no, Kitty, no.
Oh, I hate my mutant power. It makes me feel so awkward.
At the wrong times. Yeah.
Cold shower, cold shower, cold shower.
But it's like, so those pages kind of seemed rushed and rough. But then, like the very next page where you've got, Captain America and the whole team, it's like, man, the lighting, the mood, the pacing, the use of zipatone, that kind of like gradient kind of thing over some of the characters' faces. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's classic Zeck. So he must have been drawing like, these are the pages I want to draw, and then those other ones with Colossus and thinking about the woman, those are the ones I kind of don't want to have to deal with. I'm too embarrassed to draw. But yeah, to your point, it is kind of a filler issue again.
So that's 6 issues of Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars. Eventually we'll do 7 through 12, and some exciting events happens then. I can't wait. I hear there's some black costume for one of the heroes. It might be kind of cool. So if you have any comments on Secret Wars, please let us know. Tell us your favorite part, your favorite pervy part, or whatever you want to say. If you liked the art, if you didn't like the art, let us know. We are happy to hear from you, and we thank you for your emails that you've sent us. We have a Facebook page. Check it out. There's a link in the description below. We have a Gmail address, Gmail email, an email on Gmail at, and this is why I love comics, at gmail.com. Check us out on the Twitter. I'm starting to be more active on that. I'm considering a TikTok series. So if you have any advice on that, let me know. I hear that's all the rage with these youngins.
Yep, right up there with hula hoops and roller skates.
So, and this is why I love comics. I'm Andy,
This is Michael.
and we'll see you next time.
As always, thanks to Thunder Chicken for letting me use their music. Go check them out on Spotify.
You must be crazy to mess with me. So then, buy time for those excuses you gave to us, and then it is time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the slightly compromising position of Ben Grimm and She-Hulk.
Yep. Well, that's just more perviness, you know?
Yeah. And if you look closely, I think Mr. Fantastic is giving you one of those like made you look symbols with his hand. I caught you looking.
He is, isn't he? Oh, dang it, I looked
Dang
too.
it! I get to punch you.
Ah, dang it.
I got a free punch, man.